Meeting of the Needham Design Review Board to order. I'm the board chair, Mark Lusing. I would like to confirm that all members and applicants are present and can hear me. So members, please respond when I call your name. Chad Riley.
Present.
Deborah Robinson.
Present.
Steve Tanner.
Present.
Also attending our town staff support, Rana Monadorfer and Lisa Lichman. Although I guess Rana's now just officially a note taker.
I'm town staff. I get
Okay.
paid by the town.
Okay. So applicants, if you would please respond with a name for us, please. 1433 Highland Ave, Eastern Bank.
Metro sign, Tom Dunn.
Thank you. And 89A Street, Shark Ninja.
Barbara DeDasis, Shark Ninja.
Also Eric Daniel from Design Communications.
Okay, thanks. Welcome to this open meeting of the Needham Design Review Board, which is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. The order allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. For this meeting, the Needham Design Review Board is convening by Zoom app as posted on the town's website, the DRB page, identifying how the public may join. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. DRB meetings do not typically allow public comment. All supporting materials that have been provided to the members of this board are available on the town's website. Public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless the chair notes otherwise. Please note this meeting is being recorded and that some attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other people may be able to see you and that take care not to screen share your computer unless the chair approves. Please remember to mute your phone or computer when you're not speaking. I'd like to review the remote meeting procedures for tonight's meeting. I will introduce each applicant on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, I will take comments or questions from Design Review Board members. After discussion, each vote will be by a roll call vote. The Building Department requires electronic submission of building permit applications. So a copy of your application stamped and noted for the type of approval that it receives will be emailed to you by the DRB support staff. That can then be attached to your building permit application. So we will now start with the first item on the agenda. I have, I'm sorry, Glenn, I didn't, so Metro sign and awning for Eastern Bank. You want to go ahead and take us through what you're doing?
Sure.
I think what I'd like to do, actually, one sec, is just let's do the building signage together, and then we will discuss those. And then we'll move on to some of the ancillary pieces, the door signs, the color changes to the panels.
Okay, sounds good. So Tom Dunn from Metro Sign and Awning on behalf of Eastern Bank. They'll be acquiring Century Bank this November, and they're looking to rebrand the space. The first location is the letter set on the east elevation facing Highland Ave. The existing Century Bank approval was by special permit as the sign exceeds the number of signs allowed. It is a halo lit letter set mounted on a 2-inch deep panel, 24-inch high by 144 inches wide by 4.5 inches deep, equaling 24 square feet. The total projection is 6.5 inches with the mounting spacers. The colors are blue, white, and gold. The logo height is 16 inches. The letter height ranges from 8 inches to 11.8 inches, and grade to bottom of the sign is approximately 14.5 feet above grade. The second location is the letter set on the north elevation facing the parking lot. The existing approval was by right. It's a halo lit letter set mounted on 2-inch deep aluminum backer panel, 24 inches high by 144 inches wide by 4.5 inches deep, equaling 24 square feet. The logo height is 16 inches. The letter height ranges 8 inches to 11.8 inches, and grade to the bottom of the sign is 14.5 feet. And then it's the additional signs you said we'd go back to.
Yeah, well, I'll just have a quick discussion about these. So that I would note that the building wasn't completed and occupied. So when I spoke with the building inspector, he was comfortable calling this a modification of their existing special permit. So we didn't force them through a whole re-advertisement and all that effort. But one of these was a special permit on the parking lot side. I'm sorry, on the street side. So I'd take any questions, comments. You want to start with us, Steve?
I think the signs look very nice, and I wouldn't make any changes. And I think the variance goes with the building from one, even though the tenants changed. That's it.
Okay. Len? Oh, Len's not here. Sorry. Chad?
Just want to try to make sure that I sort of recall what we looked at and discussed before and how the new signs correlate. So as I recall, since there's only one street, they only had one sign by right. There's a second one. I think if I remember correctly, we discussed that normally we might look to have a second sign smaller than the other, but because of the corner condition and being able to see both at the same time, that I think we had them both at the same size. So in the new application, there's a lot of numbers that are being read out. Are we saying that there's two signs to replace the existing that have been previously approved, and the two signs that both say Eastern Bank are essentially identical, but just mounted on two different sides of the building?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Then I think otherwise I agree with Steve. It's, nice looking sign. It's, unfortunate that they're not the halo lit that I think would have been nice up on the panel, but I understand the colors and the branding and the other things that go into it. So I don't know any further questions right now.
They are in fact halo lit. They're just on the backer.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, Deborah?
Yeah, no other comment. It's pretty simple. It's fine.
I guess my only question would be, Tom, is the patching of the panels, or the new panel going to cover up any of the holes that were put in
Yes.
for the
Yep.
first?
The new panel will cover up the holes. This site was particularly challenging because it had to be pre-wired and all the area was closed up. So the panels are made to cover the existing penetrations.
Okay. I don't have any other issues with the signs. Any other questions or comments after hearing the other?
Even though they cover the holes, will they cover them or will they fill them?
No, they'll be filled, but then the panel will cover
Right.
the existing holes. It extends the existing mounting.
Okay, so I would take a motion that we approve the two wall signs, the one special permitted and the one by right sign, as submitted.
So moved.
Seconded.
Okay. We come to the vote. Chad Riley,
Approved.
Deborah Robinson,
Approved.
Steve Tanner,
Approved.
the chair approves. So then we go to the next items. And again, I would view them as sort of a body of items. There are some door signage, the ground mounted sign, which is just large enough that it requires a permit, and the changing of the colors on the facade from red to blue. Is that blue, right? So I guess I would just open it up to general discussion on any of those items. Steve?
Yeah, how tall, what's the overall height of these signs?
Which one in particular?
1433 Eastern Bank, Anton's Cleaners. It shows that, I can't really read the height.
Oh, the ground sign, the ground
Yeah,
sign
the ground
is,
signs.
yeah, okay. Tom, do you know the height of the ground sign?
It's not listed on the drawing, but I believe it was about 30 inches above grade to the bottom.
Tom, we can't hear you. Your voice went off mic.
Oh, sorry. It's 30 inches to the bottom of the sign and 28 inches of the sign height. So 58 inches, just under 5 feet.
Well, I can see from your drawing, they look a little bit bigger than the existing sign and the proposed sign. And we're trying to keep signs like this under 3-foot height overall.
This is just a face change of the existing sign.
It's just a face change.
Yes, just the middle panel, in fact. So that it's the actual panel's 8 3/8 high by 31.75 inches wide.
Yeah, those signs have been there a while, I believe, Steve, in those planting beds on each side.
If it's a face change, I have no objection at all.
Okay. Chad, any other comments on the building color panels?
I guess just the way the package, there's so many pages of the package, I just have a hard time following exactly how many things there are. It looks like, I'm looking at page 20 of the PDF right now of our packet. And it looks like there's 2 9-inch bands. Like, oh, okay, that's the inside and the outside. Just the hours, it seems all right.
This one is the ground sign.
Yeah, the ground sign seems fine. Changing out the panel, no issue with that.
The next item is the color change from the red panels that we approved to blue.
What is what's page 22 of the packet? Location 3, is that just still the same band? There's a
Yes.
kind of gray. All right.
Yep, same band.
Oh, I
It's,
see. The key plan is just a little hard to follow. Okay. All right. Location 3. All right. So location 4 is the base. That's fine. No issues with that. Just the photocopying makes it tough to follow some of the pages. Okay, 4. Sorry. Okay, 5. The color change. So there'll be a. What's the difference in terms of the with the Eastern Bank panel and the blue? That's going to be the change. I'm sure it's both the same sort of Pantone color, but is one vinyl and one is painted aluminum, or what's the difference in terms of like how the color is actually applied?
Yep, this actually just changed. Eastern Bank, they were originally going to have us wrap it with vinyl, and we advised them that they should consider paint, and they are in fact going to do paint. So it'll be a professionally painted. They're going to bring their paint firm in and paint the facade the blue, the corporate blue.
And presumably it'll be some kind of a painting application that's approved by the manufacturer, and that people know what they're doing with aluminum panel.
Yep. Correct.
Okay. And then there's one more sign band on the side door there.
At the ATM,
And-
yeah.
all right, and that's just basically the same kind of thing, hours, and thank you for visiting on the inside.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I don't have any further comments then. Thanks for walking me through it. I just want to make sure that in saying I was okay with it, I understood what I was being okay with. So
Sure.
appreciate it.
Yeah, I actually just deleted all the extra pages, so I had them in order. It was a little easier to follow than I print out.
Yeah.
Pages. Deborah, do you have any?
Yeah, no, I'm just sort of scrolling through so many pages. So I'm looking at the page and I'm not seeing the PDF page numbers here, but the one that says location 5 with the blue
Yep, that's the,
surround at the base where it's gray looking. What's the gray?
that's the existing stone facade.
Okay. Yeah, no, I don't have any other comment.
Okay, well, I thought we'd gone through this pretty thoroughly the first time, so other than just kind of reviewing the design and the approach they had to the covering the holes by using a panel that's in their color scheme, I thought was a reasonable way to do it. So what I want to do is, we do need to vote on the door wrap separately, because I have to modify that. It's printed here as saying it's going to be digitally printed vinyl, and actually it's going to be paint. So that's a condition that we're putting in as a modification. So I would accept a motion to approve the colored paneling at the entrance. And the side, is the side also painted, Tom?
Yes,
With the stipulation that they will be painted and not vinyl.
So moved.
Move.
Second,
Thanks. And we vote, Chad Riley,
Approve.
Deborah Robinson,
approved.
Steve Tanner,
Approved.
and the chair approves. So then I would accept a motion for the other window graphics and the ground signs to be approved as submitted.
So moved.
Seconded.
All right, and vote with Chad Riley,
Approve.
Steve Tanner,
Approved.
Deborah Robinson,
Approved.
and chair approves. So I think that has everything for you, Tom.
great.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Rana, I forgot to do that. You should have reminded me today about our motion system.
That's what I was talking about. You made me feel like I was crazy.
No.
So far,
Okay.
it's been pretty consistent between Deb and Steve, so
All right, so move the next item on the agenda, Shark Ninja 89 A Street, line for signage.
Yes, so Shark Ninja already occupied a portion of the building, and now the Stewart Healthcare Network that was occupying a part of the building has moved out or is moving out, and Shark Ninja is taking over that space. So we would like to replace the Stewart Healthcare sign with another Shark Ninja sign of similar size and square footage.
You want to describe where the first two are? I see we have a page 50, I believe, has a site plan. So I have the two existing noted
Yes.
and a proposed replacement. So if the board can look at that and get a sense of where those are. They all face parking lots of one sort. I believe the original
Correct.
proposal received a second sign because it was that big, large rear area of this development. Because they're basically by the NBC Boston parking lot, and that entrance, there's a large entrance to the main building back there as well. But they do not have any street facing signs. So because you have only one street address, you don't face two streets. The existing sign 01 was your by right sign. The existing sign 02 was permitted as a second sign facing parking.
Mhm.
This would be a third sign, which
Yes.
you do not have an as of right ability to get. So I did review again with the building inspector. And if you want to get this sign, you have to go through the special permit process.
Okay.
But we're happy to talk it through with you now and give you any preview of comments or opinions that the board has. And even if they have a sense of whether they're comfortable allowing a third sign for one tenant on a building this large. Are you the sole tenant of this building?
I believe they will be. Can you confirm?
Yeah, I'm
Barbara?
sorry. Yes, yes, we have taken over the rest of the building. EMC Dell had a portion of the building and Stewart has a portion of the building. we have now taken over all of the building as effective actually September 1st is when the Stewart lease actually kicks in. So we're the sole tenant at 89 A Street now.
Okay. So I would take questions. Deb, you want to start?
I'm just trying to understand where the three, so you're not seeing any of the three signs together. They're on,
And I can respond to that. So the first one is in that part of the Shark Ninja lobby. We actually have our own dedicated lobby, which is considered like on the east side of the building, and that's on page 2. And it faces the parking lot and it faces the apartment building across the way. And that's on the upper right of the building. Then we have
wait, on the, sorry, on the site plan, which one is that?
On the
oh, I'm
left.
sorry.
That's number 1, Deborah.
Okay. all
Yeah,
right.
number 1, yes.
Okay.
And then number 2 is the main entrance to the building, the base building lobby. And so there's a Shark Ninja sign all the way to the right before our loading dock. And that's a main entrance, and that's like the entrance where, you know, Google Maps sends you. But since we didn't have the rest of the building, we did not have the right to the sign in the proposed location, which is on the corner of the parking lot and A Street.
Okay.
And the size of the sign?
Page
We're-
63 has
We're,
dimension.
we're showing it as 43 square feet, but that's the bounding box or bounding polyline.
Page 63, Deborah, has some dimensions.
I don't know why I'm not seeing the page numbers, but okay, somebody else can go ahead.
Okay, Steve?
My concern is it looks like the existing Shark Ninja signs are mounted directly to the building and don't have a raceway, but this proposed third sign is shown on a raceway.
Yes, that's because the Stewart Healthcare sign is on a raceway.
That's because what? I didn't really hear you.
The existing sign for Stewart Healthcare is on a raceway, so we were going to keep the raceway to cover the old one.
Yeah, but they have 2 raceways for each, one for each line of copy, and you're gonna have 1 raceway in the middle, so I don't see how that really works or comes into play. It's just a concern I have. It doesn't necessarily mean it'll happen like that, but I'm bringing that up.
Okay. I do believe these panels are were added to the building. I don't think they are the core. I think all the metal panels was an addition at some point.
Yeah, it's a screen wall. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're correct.
Yes.
Are the current signs individually mounted, the letters? I'm looking at the one on that's up by,
Well, if you look at the one on
Existing
page
door.
52,
yeah, that's what I'm looking at.
there's no, you could see the raceway in between the K and the N if it were there.
Yeah,
And it's definitely exposed in that addition, that new sign.
okay. Yeah, no, it's clear in the new sign. Okay,
Yes, in the old signs, they actually have the raceway behind the panels.
okay. Chad, do you want to have any questions?
How does the letter height compare to the 2 existing signs of the new sign that's being proposed?
I don't have the letter height of the existing, only the height of the blue box. the 3 foot in height of that.
So, I mean, you mentioned the bounding box. That is how we define signage, even though the letters, you know, have negative space, things like that. So I guess is the bounding box the same size or smaller than existing signs on the building?
It would be smaller than the existing signs, I believe. And it would be about the same as the Stewart Healthcare bounding box.
Yeah, I think my sense is that, you know, it should be certainly no bigger. Smaller is probably a good thing. It looks just visually, at least the way that the whole photoshopping was done, like a reasonable size on the building. My sense is that generally 3 signs for a single business when there aren't as many streets seems like overkill, but in this case, the building is so big, and it's entirely possible that depending on how people have come off 128, that they might be approaching from this direction. And since there's no sign directly facing a street, they easily could miss or be driving all around. So I think if they were applying for a special permit, I certainly wouldn't consider the 3rd sign a non-starter, and the kind of size and positioning seems reasonable and appropriate for the building facade.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I think I concur with Chad. I'm hesitant about a 3rd sign, but it is quite a long building, which you illustrated pretty well with some of the photos. So, I would, when if you do apply for a special permit, I would get information on the 2 existing so that we know what those sizes are. And I would also agree with Steve that I might prefer to see them mounted individually the way the other ones were done. But that's not, you know, these are, again, right now, we're just kind of giving you some helpful hints, we hope.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and the bounding box is the top of the N to the bottom of the J, because those look like the 2 highest and lowest points in the sign, and it's the rectangle all around the lettering.
Yeah, I think I might have shown it a little tighter. I might have wrapped around the J, because that does some towns are willing to accept that, but
Yeah, we do the
I'll make
full.
sure just a single bounding box.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so your special permit would also be for the size, because a 32 square foot limitation on this particular location. Again, that's why it'd be nice to see the other ones. That would be helpful.
Mhm.
Okay, so any other questions or comments from the board? So, okay, so as I said, you can contact the building department, and they'll help you start the special permit process. And Elisa will also be involved with that and help you do that. And we'll see you back in possibly the next meeting, maybe 2.
Okay.
Because we're a 2-week,
And-
we're on a 2-week schedule.
Yeah,
So,
I would say a lot of times when there are white lettering that's internally illuminated, that will require, you know, internal filtering or dimming or other things. So I would please look carefully at what was approved before, and you know, the more similar the presentation is to what was previously approved, the easier it is to move through the review.
Okay.
Anything else? Okay, so we'll see you as the permit process goes ahead.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
So the next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes. I would take a motion to approve are there any questions or edits on the minutes of July 19th, 2021?
The last time we didn't approve them because we didn't have a quorum of people who had been there. So
Okay,
looks like we've got 3 people who were present, board members who were present at that meeting. If that's enough to vote, then we can move on it.
yeah, let me get to the page, sorry. Right, so I'd take a motion to approve these minutes from Deborah or Steve.
So move.
Seconded,
Okay, and we come to the vote. Deborah Robinson,
Approved.
Steve Tanner,
approved.
and the chair approves. Okay, then we also
Thank-
have, and Chad, yeah, Chad will abstain. Okay, and then we have the minutes of August 9th, 2021. Any comments or changes? Okay,
For me.
so I would accept, who was there? Everybody was there.
Only Deb and I were there.
Ah. Oh, Steve was not there. Okay.
Oh.
So let's,
I was in
so
an aisle.
we're gonna have to wait on these then till the next meeting, Elisa and Rana. Okay, so the next item is discussion of chair and vice chair. This came up a while back. The selectmen sent a letter around to, when it was the selectmen, to all the various boards and just asked them to work on turning over the chairmanship and the vice chairmanship more frequently. They did, I think, I don't know who they notified. It's not uncommon for these boards to have people do what I've done for the 8 or 10 years that I've done it. Conservation Commission, since I've lived in town, had 2 chairs until maybe 3 or 4 years ago. And Zoning Board of Appeals had long chairs. So it's not unusual to go long. So I don't think, I wouldn't advocate changing every year the way the select board and the planning board do. They're elected boards, they've got different issues. But we do need to start rotating in a little bit more often. I was thinking about it, was saying, you know, we're basically appointed for 3-year terms. So we should start to look at changing out to where someone does it for about 3 years. And then we can vote in a new set of chair and vice chair. I wouldn't do it shorter than that also because it takes a year to figure out the simplest way to do it and be efficient with Elisa and with the questions that come up and who to direct them to. One of the reasons I've stayed in it as long as I have is because I'm the only one, previously I was the only one who lived in town and worked in town. So when somebody needed to see something at 10 in the morning or the planning board wanted us to come in and look at something during the workday, I could do that. But I don't need to be the chair to do that. So, and I'm willing to continue to do that whenever questions like that come up, and then I'll just confer with the board chair, whoever it may be. So Steve has done it forever. I've done it forever. I think the real options for the next sequence are really Bob, Chad, and Deborah, because Len's attended 1 in-person meeting in all this time. So I think he doesn't, I wouldn't want to put him in the position of trying to figure it out. So I'm not, I haven't decided when we should do a vote. I'd like you guys to think about it, and if you have suggestions, we can talk about them now, or we can let me know. But again, due to the open meeting laws, which were also discussed, we should communicate through Elisa. So if you have questions, I mean, it's not a particular project of any sort, but it's the operation of the board, and it's supposedly a public, should be a public matter. So, but you know, basically, I'm asking Chad and Bob and Deborah to think about whether they be willing to do it, and we can probably turn something over this fall. I was going to ride this out till COVID was over because it's a hard thing to transition into, but I'm not sure when that's happening. I asked again about meeting in person, and the spaces available for that for the town are like 1 or 2, and so they're taken up by the select board and the planning board and the ZBA for the most part. So we're going to have to keep doing this. So I'm not, we're not changing today, but we need to change soon. I need to get out of this position. And I know there wasn't a lot of interest in anybody else doing it the last time I talked about this, but it's come to the point where they haven't told us
You
to.
vote for Bob, he's not here.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm writing
Not
down the
my
motion
fault.
right now. Motion approved.
So we'll also have to get it on the agenda, and we got to make sure everybody shows up, or at least they know what's going on, and they can write an email to me that I can read or something. But I think the last time we set up, everybody was pretty much there, so we were able to talk about it, and we didn't even have a vice chair, so Deborah stepped in and took that position. But it was a long time ago. And so I just wanted to get that out and get everybody thinking about it. Right. Any
It's
other?
not at all helpful. I would just say that we have our systems in place right now. I feel very confident that it would be a smooth transition because of how we function. So much better than pre-COVID, in my opinion. It's like, all the steps that need to be taken. There's Rana and myself, we're helping the whole board move along so that, you don't have so much to do, but I know there's work to be done, and you all do a lot of it, and Mark does a lot, printing out things to stamp and then scan back to me, but
That's probably the biggest
I think
change.
we're pretty smooth running board, so.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest change during all this, is that we would stamp people's drawings and send them away, and we were done. Now there's some work after the fact that I do with Elisa. And there's a little bit of prep, but that's only because I print out the relevant pages so that I can try and keep track more closely and not have to scroll through the submission.
I already deleted so many pages from that application.
Thank God we didn't have him bring 5 printed copies to the meeting.
Mm.
Would have been a ream of paper. So,
Yeah.
okay, is there anything else?
Why don't we make an electronic stamp? So that it can just be done in,
In the PDF?
yeah,
Well, so if I could scan it, then I can just,
yeah, I know, then you have to, but if you have a file, you know, like stamp it electronically.
so that's, supposed to get a signature. I guess I could stamp and sign a blank thing and then just have that's what I do with my architectural stamp.
David, yeah.
That's a good idea. Yeah, that would save me printing and scanning a little on some things.
That
So-
takes time.
Oh, yeah, it's usually what I do when I get my whiskey after the meeting.
And I
start
think we
stamping
should
the
have an
notes.
opening video so you don't have to read the governor's statements every
That we have
time.
to do.
Or scroll it like Star Wars.
Yeah. We have to read the notice. I tried to get out of that at some point, and they said, no, you need to read the notice. So, all right, so I would take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Deborah, go ahead. Seconded.
Great. Chad Riley,
Approved.
Deborah Robinson,
Approved.
Steve Tanner,
Approved.
and the chair approves. All right, next meeting is September 13th.
Yes, and just for your knowledge, in order for Shark Ninja to go through the special permit hearing process with the newspapers and all, they will not be able to attend that meeting unless they get their legal notice all set and to the papers by Thursday of this week.
Okay, yeah, it was.
Actually,
it was a
no,
3-week
no,
window.
they couldn't
No, it's
even
a
do
3-week
that.
window. Yeah,
It has to be in a week before, so the 9th is not a week before, so October 4th is the following meeting, and that's what I would presume the earliest they could attend.
okay, yeah,
Why are we
there's,
meeting so early?
I'm sorry,
Why are we meeting so early?
what do you mean so early?
September 9th is next week. We usually
No,
have a,
September 13th.
oh, I'm sorry.
No, for the newspaper, it would have to be in this Thursday.
I was like, well, why are we having a meeting on a Friday? And why is it next week?
No, it would have to be to the paper, submitted to the paper for printing, and appear in the paper on the 2nd, which means this
Yeah.
Thursday, so they can't do it.
Yeah.
We're generally trying to get on a 3-week schedule with this, but this is the one where we had 2 weeks. I wasn't sure if there were 2 or 3 weeks. That's why I said that.
Yeah.
So, all right. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Bye.